Welcome to the Fit Drivers Podcast, sponsored by PrePass. Only PrePass provides way station, bypass, and integrated electronic toll payment services, saving you time, fuel, and money while improving safety and efficiency in trucking. Visit prepass.com for details. Welcome, everyone. Boy, I'm really excited about our guest today. We have Mr. Steven Garrish. Steven currently serves as the Vice President, Safety and Compliance for Old Dominion Freight Line, a position he's held since July of 2021. Steven supports the preparation and training for Old Dominion's workforce, more than 22,000 plus employees, including 11,000 truck drivers. He oversees Old Dominion's regulatory and compliance at a federal and state level. Steven has over 28 years of experience, and he is the winner of the 2023 ATA Safety Director of the Year Award. Steven is also the chairman and driver of the Driver Recruitment, Retention, Health, and Wellness Committee for ATA. Welcome, my good friend, Steven. Good to see you. All right, Steven. So listen, according to the FMCSA recent statistics I've gathered, Steven, that over 50%, a lot of cases, 58% of our driving workforce out there, drivers, are operating on a one-year card or less. So I'm curious to hear from you if you find that numbers running pretty true with Old Dominion.
You know, here we're blessed, like a lot of less than truckload fleets. Our driver population tends to be more fit just because they have a lot more in and out of the truck activities. You know, they're
Right.
in the back of the trailer, a lot of multiple stops. So just as a matter of course, they're more active. Plus they're home every night, so they have more opportunities to plan their meals, exercise at home, that sort of thing. So it's just more of an opportunity to have a better lifestyle. Whereas, you know, some of my beginnings and earlier in my career in the over-the-road space, many of those drivers are home for weeks on end and have much more of a challenge, you know, really getting to that more regularized type of eating routine, fitness routine, and are behind the wheel for multiple periods of time where they can't get that type of activity.
Right. So interesting, and I certainly understand that, and I know from working with less than truckload in the past, they do tend to have lower turnover. And they are a little more active, but one of the things that they do tend to see is the aging population, right? And sometimes that does catch up with them. But based on your prior experience, could you just add a little bit of that too, like you talked about? You've seen that in those cases where those numbers probably run pretty true.
Yeah, certainly. There is quite a shortage in the industry of individuals who are getting into driving. You know, many times there are people who age out, and we just don't see the numbers coming into the industry like we used to in years past. We're grateful for companies like Old Dominion, where we have the opportunity to attract great talent into the industry, and we can help to bring in talent and show them how to drive and give them the skills needed to get behind the wheel and operate trucks. And where we have those opportunities, we tend to have great men and women who can learn how to drive and really help replenish the industry. Whereas many cases, drivers who might otherwise age out and leave the industry and not get replaced, companies like Old Dominion, we have the opportunity to train people and help replenish the industry. Our average age of drivers more like 47 years of age, whereas the industry, like in the over the road ranks, is more like 57. And so I think it's really important, and I see it really as something that I want to help with to support, and that is helping to support our supply chain and that very critical role of driving to help support the supply chain and really help bring in that talent that can help that critical driving role.
Right. So Steven, in your opinion, do you think in the industry the shortage is really more of a retention issue than it is a shortage of drivers?
For me, Bob, I think it could be a variety of issues. And I think for me, being able to both attract and retain is important. I think it's important that great men and women out there see driving is not some mundane activity that's underappreciated. I think they should see it as really for what it is, which is a critical part of how each of us, me and you, get the things we need for life, right?
Right.
Without drivers, we have nothing. Everything
Yeah.
that we have in life comes on the back of a truck. The clothes we wear, the food we eat, the medicine that we have, everything comes on the back of a truck. And when you see that, critical role for what it is, the supplying of life, for each of us, then I think you get to that critical place where gosh, the job that I do means everything to
Right.
all of the world, and being able to attract everyone in and see that critical place that one holds is important, and then the retention of people into those critical roles, I think, then becomes my job and everybody's job that supports our drivers to be able to continue to explain and give that clear picture of the importance of that role. And I think it's well beyond just explaining pay. Everybody goes to pay, right? And talking about retention, but I think it's so much more. It's the way one is made to feel a part of an organization. At Old Dominion, we talk about the OD family spirit. And being part of a family is much more than just having a role, right? Or having a place at the table. It's being made to feel welcome at that table. It's being made to feel like you're a part of something beyond just your seat at that table. It's being made to feel welcome, a part of, welcome at the table, and being made to feel at peace with and belonging, part of something well beyond yourself. And that's what I think is my calling, or part of what I do here at Old Dominion, is make people feel welcome and part of something. And that's why I'm so excited we have such a low turnover at Old Dominion. We really just replace largely for people retiring. We have a few beyond that, but it's so low comparative to the industry. And that's what I think is a key to part of our big success at Old Dominion, is the ability to keep and retain most of our employees here at Old Dominion for the long haul. And that's, I think, an exciting part of what I do here at Old Dominion, is be able to see the same faces every day, by and large, that we start the year with every year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the reason why, and I started these podcasts, was to have people like yourself on and talk about some of the successes, right? And unfortunately, not all of them are like that. And what I'm trying to do with Fit Drivers podcast, which I'm very blessed that Prepass, sponsors me and helps me get this word out, is to bring it more to the forefront. How there really is, in a lot of cases, a critical driver health issue out there and things we can do. So if I could, my next question for you, Stephen, and I know OD sets high standards. Can you did a really good job right then talking about the family atmosphere and so forth, but do you have a couple other best practices that you could share, that for those listening in that are trying to, find a better way and come with some solutions? Do you have a couple other best practices that you find that you do at Old Dominion to help keep your workforce just not engaged but healthy, and really trying to understand health is a priority? Because I know safety is obviously because of your recent accomplishment of that title, but as I always say, you can't be safe if you're not well, right? So obviously you do a lot to make sure they are well.
Yes, we really believe in wellness as part of our culture here at Old Dominion. And I believe among some of the practices that we believe in as part of our OD family spirit is, we believe in, hiring people who have the right attitude at work. And when they enter into Old Dominion, we talk about servant leadership and how they approach the customer, valuing the customer in their business and, taking care of the customer. And we talk about delivering promises. We're not just talking about freight in the back of a trailer. We're talking about everything that freight represents, right? The promises made to the customer and their customer. Let's face it, Bob, we all have a boss that we
Yep.
have to serve, particularly those of us who are married or have children and family that depend on us. And we talk about that service, with and taking care of those customers that we have with excellence and with pride and service oriented viewpoints is in terms of how we approach those customer relationships. And certainly, an eye to safety is part of those priorities that we have as we value and serve our customers. We often are asked, well, what are the secrets to success? And there are just so many different ways of looking at success and many elements to the success of Old Dominion. But I really just think about those main qualities of how we treat one another. It goes to those basic values of treating each other with respect. I talked about that seat at the table and making sure that the way we view people and treating each other with respect is an important part of that treating each other like family. To me, the OD family culture, that culture piece is so important. And it's something to me, Bob, that is more felt than talked about. Every company talks about a culture. Everybody talks about how they have a culture at their company. But to me, it's less talked about and something more that's felt. Anytime you walk into an OD service center, you feel the culture. It's really something that you may see written, but it's something more that you just have to feel and experience. Just talk to an Old Dominion driver, talk to a service center manager, and you'll know what I'm talking about. And I think to me, that's what keeps people coming back to Old Dominion. That's what keeps our customers loyal to Old Dominion. And that's what keeps us successful. And I believe that plays well into the way we value health and wellness at Old Dominion. When you have a driver that has a need, as part of our culture, we have excellent benefits here. We value health and wellness as part of our culture. And I think it reflects very well into the way we care for each of our employees and the way we value and support our drivers and our employees in terms of health and wellness here at Old Dominion.
Well, I can certainly vouch for that. I've had the privilege of being able to visit your wonderful campus down there probably 3 or 4 times, and I got to tell you, every time I pulled up, there's employees out there walking, exercising, that, and you're right, it's something you feel.
Yep.
It's not doesn't have to be spoken, it's something you feel. It's in the air, and you certainly set the bar for that. So, well, one last question, my friend, on your vast experience in this industry. Do you think that we do a good enough job as a whole of trying to really educate our drivers when they come in the industry about what it's really like out there on the road to live, and how to take better care of yourself and be safe, and like you said, protect your livelihood? Because for those who don't really know it outside the industry, they don't realize that when that driver lose that opportunity, there's a lot of collateral damage, right? And myself, growing up in a family of professional drivers, and our father, that, wow, he's out of work, we're in big trouble because that's
Yeah.
what they know how to do, right? And my 2 brothers are still out there today, which I got to tell you that one just hit 3 million safe miles, and the other one 2 million. I'm very proud. But when they go out of service, it's a big problem, right?
Yes, it is. And congratulations to your brothers. And I know you've been an inspiration to them as you have to me for many, many years, Bob. As I've traveled the road supporting our great drivers through the years, as I've eaten many a meal on the road, I've often thought about you, and I've often asked, what would Bob eat right now? And I've tried to help that inform each meal that I've eaten on the road too, Bob. But God bless you and your service to the industry. But I'll tell you, I'll never say we do a good enough job. I always think we should strive for excellence And I'll never say we do a good enough job as an industry informing and educating employees as they enter into the industry in terms of health and wellness and what we can do to inform. I think we should always strive for excellence in being able to do more, tell people not only what we believe in terms of our own experiences, but also pass along the knowledge and wisdom and experiences of those who work on the road today. I've always found among some of the best practices is not only share the collective wisdom of people like yourself who've been out there and have learned a lot and know a lot, but also find, as you have, champions, people who have found best practices within the ranks of our drivers, who've found good ways, good practices, tips that they can pass along. And I've often found those people to be also motivational, that can share those great practices among the ranks of drivers. And I've personally found that those folks can also be highly motivating too. You get saddled up with a few folks that not only know what they're talking about, but also are excited about it. And gosh, they can be very inspirational for one's own personal health journey, and can be very helpful in determining one's own level of motivation to help, make a person healthier in their own decision making. I know certainly just watching you through the years has been motivating for me. And I'm sure you'll continue to do great things as you motivate and help the industry move forward, Bob.
Well, thank you. It's very kind of you. And one of my new initiatives I'm working on, which I may call on you to help champion for me, is that, in the life of a professional driver out there, we know that you train them very hard on doing that pre-trip, right? Walking around looking to make sure nothing looks suspicious or could create a problem. And I'm working really hard, Steven, to take it one step further and do a pre-trip fridge check or cooler check, because we know in the life of a driver, every day they're going to get stuck. Weather, accidents, breakdowns, and it's been my experience, if they don't have a good choice to reach for, they often make a bad one, right? So I'm hoping that I can help instill that they take that one more step further and educate them. And if nothing else, hand them something, say, here's some ideas, some suggestions that you should have in your truck with you if you do get stuck. So when the wheels start going, you don't lose your own personal fuel, right? Energy and so forth. So.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Good food choices and plenty of water. That's always something you taught me many years ago. Always have both at hand. That way you're not panicking and making bad choices.
Right, exactly. Well, Steven, it goes without saying, it's so good to see you, and thank you. You really did bring out some really good high points, and I'm hoping our listeners can take away some of these things. Like I said, it's small steps, right? Equal big results. You don't have to tackle it all at one time, just making gradual changes. And like you said, I thought your point that I really took away from our conversation, people talk about culture, but really the culture is in its doing, right? It's you're feeling it. It's really heartfelt. It's just not talking it. It's really living it, and it comes through.
Amen. Well said, Bob. Thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate all you do for our industry.
You're very kind. Talk to you soon, and hope to see you soon, my friend, in person.
I look forward to it, Bob.
All right. Thank you so much, Steven.
Thank you.
Only Prepass provides weigh station, bypass, and integrated electronic toll payment services. Visit prepass.com for details.